designed to do. And we're changing focus this hour. We've got three candidates that are vying for the seat of City Council Representative for Ward 4. As most of you know, that the current representative for Ward 4, Frank Blotzer, has decided that he will seek a higher office, and he is seeking the office of mayor for the city of Jackson. And that leaves Ward 4 wide open. Three young men are here with us to talk about why they should be elected to this post, and I'll give each of them an opportunity to introduce themselves. And Derek, we'll start with you.
Good afternoon. I'm Derek Trimble. Once again, vying for the position of City Councilman for Ward 4.
All right, want to tell us a little bit about your background, sir?
Well, I'm a lifelong resident of Ward 4. I grew up in the Northwest Hills Terrace community. I'm vying for this position for one main reason, because over the years, I've seen my community that I grew up in decline in front of my very eyes. And I feel that we need to rebuild our community. And I use the word rebuild because I once remember a community. I once remember neighbors looking out for each other. I once remember businesses being vibrant in Ward 4, small businesses. I remember a school system in which I was a part of, which I graduated from, being vibrant in the community, supporting the school system. And I want to bring all those aspects of community back into my area. So that's why I'm vying for the position of Ward 4 City Councilman, so we can build a stronger community and we can do it together.
All right, Derek, thank you very much. And Takita, we'll take you next.
Yes, I'm Takita Stamps, and I'm a lifelong resident here as well. I was born right here in Sunset Apartments in Jackson. Went to McLeod Elementary School, then went on to Timberlawn, Sidewell, and Forest Hill. After that, I went to the military. I retired in 2010, moved back, purchased a home right in our home neighborhood, and also encouraged other of my family members to do the same thing. Because I believe you should go out and experience things in the world, but when it's time to come back home and share those good things you've learned and help rebuild your city. I've been a lifelong leader when I was growing up and while I was in the military, and Jackson is starving for leadership. And I'm here to provide it for Ward 4.
All right, very good. And Reverend Banks will take you next, sir.
Thank you, Walter. It's glad to be here. It's good to be among these great people who are vying for Ward 4 councilperson. I've been a long time resident of Carriage Hill, which is in Ward 4 now, for about 20 years. Been very involved in education. Served on Forest Hill Student Advisory Committee. Traveled with the football team also. They've been a part of the education process at Jackson State for about 16 years, helping students and persons to become educated in scholarship. Three main reasons that I think that I can do a good job on this council. It has to help build stronger families, safer communities. I've involved myself in volunteerism in both the sheriff department and the police department, as a chaplain, trying to help the young people take the right course. Jobs. I don't have jobs, but I'm going to network with people to help bring jobs that is very needed to not only just Ward 4, but South Jackson. We have a growth process, as my brothers have just said. And so, again, education, jobs, and public safety. That's what I can and will do to make a difference and to make South Jackson Ward 4 is best.
All right, very good. And Reverend Banks, that's a great segue into the first block of this conversation this afternoon. And I want each of you guys to tell me, what do you think the top 3 issues are in Ward 4? Not Jackson, but in Ward 4. The top 3 issues in Ward 4. And Takita will give you an opportunity to go first there.
Well, thanks a lot, Older. The top 3 issues we've come across in living in Ward 4 and talking to our residents are, the first is jobs. The business and economic community in our district. We don't have a lot of restaurants. Now, Ward 4 has almost 27,000 people. Now, with that, we can build more businesses. We can have jobs in our community. Clinton, right next door, has almost a little over 20,000 people. They have less of the population than we have in Ward 4. So if they can build a whole city, we can too. They're not smarter than us. They're not more knowledgeable than us. We have good people, and we can capture that business and do it right here in Ward 4.
All right, very good. So jobs being one of them.
That's the top issue that people have been expressing to us, is if they had a job in their area, then they can do it. They don't have to travel anywhere. And we can save our tax dollars by not having to travel across the city limits to go to clinics, to go to restaurants and stimulate business. We can capture those tax dollars, and with those tax dollars, we can use it to fix our streets. Because when we spend money in Clinton, Flowood, Byron, Madison, and we look at that tax money, that's $4 towards their schools, towards their roads, towards their education systems, towards their communities. And we have to capture the fact that we can do it. And so the top thing is jobs. The next thing is the infrastructure that's in the city. And then next, people talk a lot about crime. So it's going to take a holistic approach to solve these problems. It's not going to just focus on economics or just focus on schools. It's going to take focusing on academics, business, and community revitalization. That's our platform, ABC, academics, business, and community revitalization.
All right, very good. Reverend Banks, top 3 issues facing the residents of Ward 4.
I could not agree much with Brother Stamps that jobs, which to me, jobs, economic development goes together. Let me just say, first would be jobs, okay, which is also part of the economic growth. We need businesses, eating places on the south side as well as we have on other parts of Jackson. Number 2, right with that, is our public safety. With the growth of South Jackson, with some of the apartments being closed in other parts of Jackson, we have gathered the population from across Jackson to the South Jackson. With population growth, you're going to have property crimes. Culture's got to come together. We got to bond together more. We got to know who are the new neighbors coming in. So number 2 is public safety. Got to be there. And I would say again, number 3 for me, and all of them come together. We got to educate our people. Education got to be a prime star. We got to find investors, and we got to find partners to network in schools from K through universities. And that's what I'm doing right now with a volunteer group, trying to help us educate our parents so we can keep our young folks out of the prison system.
All right, very good. And Derek, your top 3.
Well, I believe, as an educator here in the Jackson Public School District, that the #1 problem facing Ward 4 is educating and involving our youth, not only in the classroom, but outside the classroom as well. The problems that we face in the city of Jackson have a cause and effect type of correlation. You talk about crime. Okay, who's committing the crimes? 85% of the crimes committed in the city of Jackson are committed by young African-American males between the ages of 15 and 35. That's our young people. And think about, we using the word "our." These are our young people. We just can't throw them away. We have to deal with the issue at hand, and that's relating to businesses. Businesses look at 2 things. They look at your school system, and they look at crime. If we're not educating our young people and engaging them in what's going on in the city of Jackson, we're going to lose them to things like negativity. We're going to lose them to house burglaries. We're going to lose them to car theft. They're going to break up your businesses. Second issue, of course, is economic development. We need to support small businesses in Ward 4. Small businesses have been the backbone of Ward 4 since I was a kid. Places like Martin's Fish House, Cut Creators, Nappy Cuts, JJ's Eatery on Bowling Street. These have been the foundation of what Ward 4 has been built on for years and years and years. And if we don't maintain and establish and maintain our small businesses, we're going to lose the city of Jackson. And of course, the last thing is crime. But like I said, all of our issues have a cause and effect relationship, and they all correlate together. So we have to work on one problem to fix the next problem.
All right, very good. So I think that capturing notes from the 3 of you, you all said the exact same thing. You may have put them in different orders, but you said the exact same thing. So I want to take an opportunity then to unwrap the job situation in particularly the economic development piece, because the landscape of Ward 4, the way it is drawn now, it's huge, you know, and it encompasses a large portion of the city of Jackson. So realistically, how do we educate the residents of Ward 4 as it relates to economic development? Because I will submit to you that there are people in Ward 4 who seemingly think that they are disconnected to what is happening in the city. And Reverend Banks, we'll start with you then.
We have to let the whole entire city know, and first our government, that without Ward 4, then there goes Jackson. Okay, a big part of Jackson is Ward 4, and that means that the interest of our entire system, our governmental system, got to be phased now. We can't go and try to deal with Ferry Street is great. We got to do everything in Ferry Street. We got to do everything on another street. But we got to have that same infrastructure right in the larger part of South Jackson now. And we got to educate our people. Maintaining management. I stop at service stations and tell our people, hey, wait, if we can park cars right and hang around and not do that and gonna lose our business, let's look at other parts of our city. So education is very key here again, and let them know how we have grown and how we can maintain an infrastructure to help South Jackson be what other communities can be.
All right, very good. Jerry, take a stab at that one.
Well, when you talk about economic development, you have to first support the economic development that's already existing in Ward 4, which are the small businesses. Give them a reason to want to stay in Ward 4 and to give them a reason why it will be lucrative to them as business owners to stay in Ward 4. Secondly, Ward 4 is neck and neck as the largest ward in the city with Ward 7. Major thoroughfares go through Ward 4. Highway 18, for an example. Highway 80, Northside Drive, Mega Evans Boulevard. These are major thoroughfares with the infrastructure already in place that you can develop economic development. There's no reason why Highway 18 couldn't look like Lakeland Drive or look like Renaissance up in Ridgeland and Madison. So we need to first look at what we already have, support it, maintain it, and build on our infrastructure to use and have, you know, just out of the box ideas, because the thing I see wrong with Jackson, that we too closed in a box of where we don't look at things that's going on in another situation because, oh, it won't work for Jackson, oh, they won't support it here. We have to think outside the box. We have complex problems in the city of Jackson, and we need to come up with complex solutions. We have the infrastructure, we have major thoroughfares. Let's use it to our advantage so we can build economic development. But first, we need to support what we already have here in the city and in Ward 4.
All right, very good.
Every city in our community, or outside our community, works on diversion traffic. Clinton works on how much traffic it can divert from Jackson. Same with these other surrounding cities. And Ward 4 is the sleeping giant of Jackson. We're one of the biggest populations in the city of Jackson, and now all we have to do is capture that growth and then build on it. That's what we have to do. We don't have to divert anything. We have major thoroughfares in our city, in our ward. We have to wake up, and when the sleeping giant wakes up, all the covers come off the bed. That's what we can do in Jackson, and together we can do it. We just kind of stop complaining about Jackson. It's going to take action in Jackson, buy Jackson products, buy Jackson-owned businesses products, and move forward as a city.
All right, very good. I bet you I'll follow up.
Yeah, let me just add on something that the brothers just said here, especially Trimmer. I've been on the planning board for about 8 years. And I agree that we need to, I have no problem with mom and pop shops. You know, I have no problem with small service stations. But I'm saying to our business people, you got to clean them up. Because we cannot get a Long John Silver, a Red Lobster, which we need badly in the area, until we can maintain what we have. And so we don't have to ride across town. But right now, people are doing that for their own concern. And so we're going to have, I vote against small pawn shops and small stations coming into it. I said, no, cash day, everyday checking. We need to look at maintenance business that can build itself so other franchise can come in.
Absolutely. To give you a follow-up to that.
And one thing as a city council that I would focus on is code enforcement. It's hard to run a good business if the business next to you is run down and dilapidated. Just take like the Country Fisherman on Highway 80. They have a good business there, high traffic flow, and they service their customers well. Okay, right next door is the Old Western Sizzler, dilapidated, run down, full of old animals and all types of activity across there. That's what the problem is. All that we can affect the city. That's what I would do as city council. Is code enforcement is key to helping the businesses we have be successful.
All right, very good. Your follow-up?
Well, the first thing you need to do as a city councilman, you need to build not only a community coalition, but also a business coalition. Bring all those business owners to the table so they can work out problems amongst themselves. If the Country Fisherman on Highway 80 is having a problem with their neighbors next door to them, let them come to the table and work out those solutions together. Same thing neighborhoods do. You need to look at it in a way of economic development as a team, because we fight against each other too much. My business next door can benefit your business, you know, because we have the same thoroughfare, we have the same type of people coming in. So instead of us fighting each other, we need to come to the table and form initiatives and ways that we can work together as a team, because businesses support each other just like communities support each other.
All right, very good. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that, and Nikita, you uncovered this, and it was mind-blowing to me, that 27,000 people live in, almost 27,000 people live in Ward 4, and that's larger than the city of Clinton. I would have never thought that. I would have absolutely never thought that. And so with the corridor of Highway 18, how much of that is encompassed into Ward 4?
Actually, the whole Highway 18 corridor to all the way up until you get to 220 all of it is how is the corridor is in Ward 4. Now, when you cross over I-20, just the left side of the road there is Ward 4. But what we have to also do is build what we already have. Derek mentioned this earlier.
Oh, hold on one second, and don't lose your thought. Please don't lose your thought. I'm just trying to get the geographics, and I'm trying to make it just a little clearer for me, particularly. So where 18 starts at the Metro Center, how far down does it go? That's Ward 4. That's my question.
Oh, it goes to Timberlawn Elementary School.
So all the way, so it stops at Timberlawn.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. So okay, that was my thing. Okay, now go on and make your point. I'm sorry.
Okay. The Highway 80 coalition is already being formed, and we have to build
The Highway 18 coalition.
Highway 80 coalition.
80 coalition.
Highway 80 coalition is being formed and already built. Highway 18 has less businesses on it, but it has a high traffic flow. When you look at the amount of traffic that goes down Highway 18, if we can support those and build the infrastructure they need to be successful, they will grow. The subway on Highway 18 is the top producing subway in the region. And the reason for that, they're on the right-hand side of the road there. It's on the way home. When you're leaving downtown Jackson, when you come off of 220, when you come off of 20, and you're going down Highway 18, we've made the top producing subway and almost until Memphis, right there, just because of traffic flow. And that's why I say the city of Jackson and Ward 4 is a sleeping giant. We produce the traffic. We don't have to divert any traffic anywhere. All the other cities have to divert traffic from Jackson. We already have it. We just must capture it.
All right. And Reverend Bates, with your being particularly sitting on the planning board, you have an intimate knowledge of how things work in the city. How do we grow Highway 18? How do we effectuate a change on Highway 18 to make Highway 18 become a premier destination stop in the city of Jackson?
Let's go back to the subway. Stan just mentioned. Talked with the manager about 2 weeks ago. With the growth there, the parking is interesting. You can't park because it gave you just a little parking space, and so that's why city council's person got to get together. I mean, there are things in our own wards that we got to push for, but as a whole, you started talking about development. We got to look at where we come together and where we end together and make all of it work. Because to put a subway to a place where the parking is rough, then you're gonna lose again people who could come.
That's right.
So we gotta come together and build those kind of ideas where we can have those businesses to thrive, even though we're on the main thoroughfare.
All right, very good. You have a follow-up.
And it takes leadership. See, leadership allowed that to happen, but it put them in a position to start business, but didn't put them in a good position to grow business and grow. So that's a decision that we can do as a leadership in the city of Jackson.
All right, very good. Dr. Over there?
If we're interested in bringing large, big business anchor stores to Highway 18, maybe a Kohl's, a Target, a Belk, those large anchor stores, we need to go to other cities and look at what other cities are doing in our region. Look what Baton Rouge, Louisiana did with the model Louisiana. Let's take a look at Little Rock, Arkansas, what they did with North Little Rock, Arkansas, or even Birmingham, Alabama, what they did with the Interstate 20 and 459 corridor. It's other cities, same size, same demographic of Jackson, that had the same situation, and they turned it around. So sometimes we need to stop saying, hey, we don't want to do what they did, but if what they did worked, and it was successful for them, why can't it be successful in Jackson? You can bring a Belk, you can bring a Target, you can bring a Kohl's to Highway 18, but you need to realize and you need to bring those people in and say, hey, we already have a Walmart there, we already have a Lowe's there, this is a high traffic area, people going back and forth from Cedar Hills and Willowwood and Brook Hollow and Oak Creek to and from work. So you need to make these people realize that this is a prime spot for development, and once you do that and get everybody on board, these people who own Kohl's and own Belk and Parisian and all these other big anchor stores will be interested in Highway 18 and bring development to the area.
All right, very good. I thought I saw a hand for a follow. So one of the reasons that I pulled you guys together first, because I've not done this with any other ward, one of the reasons is because I think that Ward 4 is a sleeping giant. I think that people underestimate the power that the people of Ward 4 brings to this city. And I also think that people don't understand how much of South Jackson Ward 4 encompasses. People don't really understand. They don't really understand that. And so speaking of South Jackson, Rev. Banks, you alluded to this earlier, the dynamics of South Jackson has changed tremendously. Geographics, all of that has changed in South Jackson. How do we recapture the essence of what South Jackson used to be? Because it was once a thriving part of the city of Jackson. And quite frankly, the demographics have totally changed.
Since all of us agree that our three top priorities, crime and education and public safety, all together in other areas, we're going to have to call upon council persons by themselves would not do the job. We have the vision and the ideas. We're going to have to call upon our JPD, our sheriff departments, our neighborhood association. Everybody got to come in and help deal with this together. We can't have the interest of policing in one area because crime might be high in 2 rather than 3. We got to look at everybody having a concern. It's because the way you have jobs to grow and to stay, you got to have a what? Clean neighborhoods, as my brother just said. You got to have safety there at the same time. So I think that out of a different organization, and even the church-based organization, you know, I'm concerned to see 13 churches in one area and abandoned houses next door. So the faith-based community, the police department, the sheriff department, all those entities got to come together.
Makes perfect sense to me.
And it's also time for Ward 4 to fight for our fair share. Jackson rolls over a lot of revenue. The state of Mississippi rolls over a lot of revenue. But a lot of that traffic comes through Ward 4 and through Jackson. So in Ward 4, we have to fight for our fair share of the millage, our fair share of the tax revenue that comes from the gasoline tax. We can fix our streets, we can fix our highways and interstates, but we have to fight for our fair share. See, because they're fixing roads in Rankin County and Madison County, but we're not fighting for our fair share of state money that the city of Jackson deserves, the city of Jackson pays for, and I'm fighting for that.
Who is the we? Who's the we have to fight? Who's the we
as
isn't fighting?
As the leadership of the city of Jackson, we need to fight for our fair share of Department of Transportation money that's earmarked from the gas revenue the gas revenue tax that the city generates. We pay it, we deserve it, and we need it.
Very good, Derek.
Well, you talk about the demographic of South Jackson changing, and as a resident of West Jackson, born and raised, the reason the demographic of South Jackson changed because all those apartment complexes that were knocked down during the 90s, those people had to go somewhere. The problem that a lot of people don't look at, and the last issue that Dr. King was facing in the last years of his life, was poverty. Poverty is a real issue in the city of Jackson, and people are not talking about that. People are not talking about and dealing with the issue that people are really poor in the city of Jackson and need help. So when you knock down apartment complexes just like they did in Atlanta, just like they did in Chicago, those people have to go somewhere, and those people went to South Jackson. So South Jackson has changed over the years, and the demographic of South Jackson has changed tremendously. And we keep harping on South Jackson, but I think a lot of people, as I come across, feel disconnected because Ward 4 is so big and Ward 4 is so lengthy that what about North Jackson? You have Bel Air, you have Shady Oaks, you have my neighborhood, Northwest Hills, you have West Jackson, you have the Queens, you have subdivision number 2. So we need to look at Ward 4 in a holistic approach because that's what a lot of people feel so disconnected about the process because in the past we've always focused on one little segment of the area and left so many other people astray. So we need to come with a holistic solution process because what people deal with in Hibernian Hills, they're not dealing with in Cedar Hills. What people dealing with in Shady Oaks, they're not dealing with in Western Hills down Granite Road. So Ward 4 is very diverse. We have a lot of different issues from corner to corner, from post to post. And we need to look at a holistic approach and deal with everybody's issues and everybody's concerns in Ward 4, not just South Jackson, but West Jackson and North Jackson as well.
Okay, and you raise a good point, but my point in terms of talking about Ward 6, Ward 4, is that most people assumed that South Jackson was just simply a part of Ward 6. And so that's my point to you. I clearly recognize the entire landscape of Ward 4, but my point was people associated South Jackson with Ward 6 and not Ward 4. And that's the educational component that I think you guys are charged with, educating folks. I don't know who got to get first.
Okay, one of the biggest things also is with the redistricting plan that the city put out. When you divide up neighborhoods, you divide up leadership. And that's how people are disenfranchised. The redistricting plan that has been put forth, that is in effect right now, divided my very neighborhood in Cedar Hills. I live on one street, and I voted in Ward 4. My sister lives in the street over, and my father lives in the street over. They're in Ward 6. They divided right through our neighborhood. And they've done the same thing all across the city. One of the things that I would plan to do is change the redistricting plan to make if you're from I-20 to 55, that's a ward. If you are up now, you can close in the leadership, so now you can really focus on the community's issues and not have communities divided up all over Jackson. That's what we need to do is first start with leadership, making sound decisions to effectively touch the people and address their issues.
All right, and before we go to you, Reverend Banks, I got to get back to you because I don't necessarily think that's the responsibility of a council person to effectuate ward lines, because that is a mandate from the federal government as it relates to census, right?
No, it changes based on census.
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years.
Right.
And they just voted on it as a result of the past census, but the council
I agree.
voted on the redistricting.
Right, they absolutely voted on the redistricting, but they are now responsible for doing the drawing of the line. That's my point to you, right?
And they can also submit options like Councilman Larita Cooper Stokes. She submitted an option to also be looked at.
Gotcha.
So we can also submit another option.
Gotcha.
We hire a consultant to draw the lines, but as council people, we have the power to submit other options and other things and address these issues. And when you divide up leadership, when you divide up communities, you divide up leadership in the community.
And that's a great point.
Yeah, let me weigh in on that because I was about to say that.
But you got drawn into Ward 4, right?
Yeah, and right now, they have
Oh, you as well, okay.
They have done what they need to do. At this point, I want to help educate. I want to help engage people. And both that now we are larger than just Ward 6. We are not just all South Jackson, but we are part of West Jackson. We are part of some of the northwest part of the
right.
So we got to just help educate. I don't want to go in and try to start another redistricting, because right now we got it dealt with. I may not agree with all of it, but we got to educate and engage people now. That hey, what happens now in Bel Air can happen also in Brook Hollow, also in Carriage Hill, where I am. So that's a good point to be raised.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would, if you would, Darren, talk a little bit about the makeup of the people of Ward 6. So we've talked a little bit about the neighborhoods, and right before we go to this break, let's talk a little quickly about the makeup of the people. I wonder if you've done any studies to talk about the demographics and the makeup of the people of Ward 4.
Well, Ward 4 along with Ward 7 are two of the most diverse wards in the city because of the size of the wards. You have a very young, aspiring, growing population in Ward 4, especially in the Northside Drive corridor between Northwest Hills, the Queens, the Clinton Boulevard area, Hibernia Hills, Westchester Hills, that area. And you also have that same demographic in the Cedar Hills area, Carriage Hills, Western Hills, off Sidewell Road. So the ward is very diverse and different coming from Northside Drive down to Sidewell Road. Sub 2, a very historic, a very culturally tight neighborhood. Sub 2 is very self-policed. The people in Sub 2 are very proud, a very strong community under the leadership of Miss Princess Barber. And you have those certain neighborhoods that are very strong, such as the Queens under the leadership of Mr. Michael Starks. But you also have those neighborhoods that the aspect of community is not solely together, like Westchester Hills, like Forest Place Estates, or like Windsor Forest. So the demographics vary from Northside Drive, northern border to southern border, Sidewell Road, Raymond Road.
All right, very good. Reverend Banks will give you an opportunity to take a stab at the makeup of the people of Ward 4.
Yeah, some might call it old school, some might call it new school. I guess I'm a part of both of them. But yeah, we have residents who have been there now for over, I've been in Carriage Hill for about 20 years. In Carriage Hill, I guess 80% of the persons are in my age range, you know. But then you got the new people who are coming in, and the other part of not too far from where we have the new vows. So the makeup is you have a good number of people who are finishing schools now, but you have a number of people who maintain their job without perhaps a college education. And so that's why, again, we got to cater to the needs of all our people. The senior citizens, they are still there. You have the baby boomers, you have the new babies, you have the young families are really our populated growth of that whole area. And that's where the need process are. So I would say when you look at the demographic of families, we have probably an average nut of all of them coming together.
All right, very good. And we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll let you pick up and answer, make the question about the demographics.